Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir SilentGods video. In today's video, I want to talk about the Goblins Lair and pretty much show you the team that I'm using to farm Goblins Lair stage 3. I know that I have like several videos on my channel that covers that, plus there's several ways that you can try and get to the high stage of Goblins Lair to farm it, but I did want to make another video on it because it's pretty much priority number one up until, you know, the game's gonna change it and they're gonna make it to be a little bit less Goblinair, SilentGods, right? This is really important, right? Your goal is, as soon as you open Goblins Lair 3, to try and get to stage 3 and try to get the maximum, right? 3-star it, I guess, as we would call it, which means do it with this one being like the total amount of, the total amount of time left, more than 50 seconds, which means you're going to be getting the best amount of XP potions that you can get. Reason for that is obviously the way that the system works in this game. It doesn't matter on what difficulty you're farming, maybe Goblins Lair 1, 2, or 3, you're still using 10 stamina, right? So because you're still using 10 stamina, when you have the high stage open, that's when you want to focus to try to get, this is like priority number one from my point of view. As soon as Goblins Lair 3 is open, your first priority should be to try to get this to 3-star, and only after that start doing everything else. Because once you have this, you're going to get maximum efficiency from getting your XP pots, which means you're going to be able to build some other teams. Now, when it comes to the teams that you can build for this, obviously it all will depend on your roster, right? Like I could go and maybe show you like 10, 15, 20 teams that I've seen other people use and whatnot. But as an example, what I'm going to show you, or like at least, show the team that I'm using and maybe give some other options, some other replacements. But from my point of view, the number one best, again, might be wrong, this is just my opinion, but for what I've tested and what I've seen, from my point of view, the number one easiest team that can do Goblin on the highest stage and that can do the best damage when it comes to this AoE is gonna be Shadow team, right? It doesn't really matter if you have Ozul or not, honestly, but the reason why I'm saying Shadow is so good is because of the fact that the way that they synergize and the way that they use their kits, right? So when it comes to Shadow, they have those attacks and the ultimates. They can do it so fast, especially if you have Taldi, right? That boosts a ton of Shadow to everybody else. That basically every 10 seconds, if not even less, depending on how many Shadow people you have, they're going to keep using their ultimates, right? Which means that they're going to be doing a ton of damage. If you have somebody like a Taldi in there as well, you can have the defense penalty be landed there a lot, or you can bring somebody else. But again, from my point of view, Shadow is the number one team. Obviously, I'm not talking if you have like all the exclusives, all the highest super awaken, then like, yeah, you just go cracking it out and that's it. But even with me, you're gonna see that like, not just because I have Ozul, I do it so good. You can see that actually my Aspalta does a ton of damage in this team, right? She's one that does it really, really good, and she brings a ton of damage. And if I just show you a little bit the builds, there's not going to be anything too impressive, right? There's going to be just a few, like no legendary gear, right? I have no legendary gear on my Astaion. I do have like, the Horn in there and some other stuff. So it's not obscene gear, right? When we look at Taldi, I have some legendary gear, but you can see it's just some random stuff in there, right? Nothing too impressive, which is remained in there just to have a chance to land some defense penalty. You're going to see that I don't have a ton of attack percent in there. Then what else? Okay, let's look at Fenja. Okay, Fenja, I did get lucky to get like an attack percent mantle. She's more of a healer, but she does bring some damage in there, right? So if you have some supports, like for example, you have somebody like a Fenja, I would recommend use her because she is a good support for healing, but she does a decent amount of damage as well, right? It's because she does 600% attack twice. That's 1200 in a pretty decent range. That's why I went with attack percent, crit rate. You see, I just built a support as a damage dealer. Try to be as efficient as possible early on to have, the team that you're using Goblin, try to make them to be useful in other areas, right? So for example, I know that Astaion I'm going to use in everywhere. I know that I'm going to be using Fenja in some other areas, some other dungeons. So I said, you know what? I invested in those ones to get them to 5-star, to push them to the next level in order to farm this at 3-star as early as possible. But yeah, I kind of use the Chest of Radiance. This one can be another damage artifact, whichever you want to use. I just chose to go with this one because I get 10% more attack and defense for everybody because I have a full 5-man synergy, right? I have all 5 of the same element. Then when it comes to like Aspalta, again, only 2 pieces of gear that's like crit damage, attack. You see, I don't have the highest crit rate. I do have Poison Swamp, which is hands down one of the best damage, if not actually the best current artifact for damage in the game, excluding, you know, the exclusives that are a bit different. But apart from that, you see attack percent. I do have some runes. It's not perfect. It's still a work in progress, but you see how well it still works. And then Ozul is actually the only one that I have in like a actual proper set. I was lucky in a way that I got the right main stats, but bad substats. Okay, so what I mean by that is I have an attack percent chest in the set that gives him attack speed. This is kind of like the best. If you're trying to build a shadow team, the best way to build them is to give them as much attack speed as possible, because it says over here, well, let me see, what is it? What is dealing damage grants shadow energy, right? Which means every time you do a basic attack, you're gonna grant yourself shadow energy. The more shadow energy you grant yourself, the faster you're gonna attack, the faster you're gonna get back to your ultimate, right? In Ozul's case, he just stays in the ultimate state. But let's look again. So attack percent with no crit rate, no crit damage. Crit damage with no crit rate, just I did get, I guess, double attack percent, which can be good. And then helmet, 1 crit damage and then nothing else that matters, right? So it's not like I have obscene gear. Even here, like you can see, I don't even have any better runes, and I do have his exclusive artifact. However, if you don't have his exclusive artifact, just use, obviously if you have it, the shadow artifact, right? This artifact is just amazing. It gives you so much extra attack. It gives you also the crit rate. It's a perfect replacement for something like that. So this is pretty much the team that I'm using. You also need to keep in mind playing with skill timings, right? Keep that in mind. That can be really important. Let me show you what I mean. So for my team, you see that I have Ozul stopped where he is delayed his ultimate a little bit. The reason why I'm doing that is because if I let him, he would do the ultimate now when there's like 2-3 people in there and you would waste it. See, like for example, okay, maybe I have to delay it an extra second. See, good example. See, he just uses ultimate on 1 person, which is basically a waste. So always try to look at your timings and try and see which is gonna be your best way to use it, right? Best way to use your ultimates. Maybe delay some. I know that there's a really cool comp using Segred in a team where the timings are made for her, so she perfectly uses the ultimates to kill the waves. It's really important to do that. So as an example now, I kill it and then I keep Ozul's ultimate because once the next one comes, he's going to do a ton of damage to them, you see? Like these ones almost killed when he crit. Again, it's not a perfect gear, but still, trying to play around with the presets, with the skill timings is extremely important because that can be the difference between you actually 3-starring the Goblin, right, the stage 3, or not doing that. And you know what? You're missing out on a lot if you don't quite manage to do it. And that's why just, if you see that it doesn't 3-star, just remember, you can always quit. It doesn't use stamina. Quit and try again. Do a different preset, try different team, try different gear sets. And it's definitely worth it because once you get that to the point of farming, you can go crazy on Goblin and you can build as many champions as you want, right? But yeah, you're going to see that this one's pretty easy. I think there's one more wave. If not, it's already dead. You see that he kind of goes back because the ultimate is done. I didn't have enough shadow energy. However, we're pretty much done, right? The next one, it should be dead with a couple of more ultimates. And this is the last one. And it's done. It's 3-star. It's not perfect. It's not, you know, it's going to be even faster once I get better gear, but still it's good enough for me. I 3-star it. I'm happy. I get the maximum efficiency out of my stamina, and that's kind of the goal for you as well, right? Always try to maximize the resource that you get for the stamina that you use. Now, one last tip that I want to say at the end of this, which is something that, you know, should be known by you if you've been playing for 4 seasons, or maybe, you know, you never checked it out. But if you see that you're struggling, try to look over here in the right. Okay, let me move myself a little bit. You see it says over here, lineup rec, right? That means lineup recommendation. If you click that one, there's going to be a lot of options or a lot of ideas that you can see. And the cool thing is you can click and see exactly the pieces of gear that they had, right? So for example, if you see somebody like this, okay, that's from previous seasons, that's too hard. More relatable one, somebody that's level 29, okay? Or something like this. Look at this. The perfect example of what I was talking. A shadow team that use somebody like people like Zarloth, then Cheddar as another shadow team with Taldi, with Tatal. So basically no legendary actually used, just all the epic shadows, and then 2 good supports that synergize. Voresh, which is amazing, and then Zarloth. See, always look at this, because this could give you some good ideas of what you can do. I mean, look at how many without legendaries there are. This is just impressive, and it just shows you what you can do. Obviously, some of them are level 100, some have like full legendary gear, but honestly, if you look at it, it's not the best, right? Look at the stats. So, yeah, always keep in mind, looking at the lineup recommendation can make the difference between you being able to do something or not. But I guess we're going to leave it at this for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. One thing I do want to mention, for people that participated in my giveaway, I posted in my Discord channel in the giveaway section the winners. Jump in there, go check it out. You might be one of the winners, because I could now reach 4 of you on Discord. So if you don't answer to me by tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to go and give the codes to other people, because they expire on the 4th. So make sure to check your Discord DMs as well. If you participated, you might have a DM from me giving you the code. If you don't get it, you're going to lose it. But anyway, this is going to be for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel to see when I upload next, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.